The pink line is a word I use to describe a global new human rights frontier that I believe defines the world and divides the world in an entirely new way, thanks to an explosive new global conversation about human rights, sexual orientation, and gender identity, carried on the winds of globalization, specifically mass migration and the way people travel and take ideas with them, but also, perhaps more profoundly, thanks to the digital revolution and the way that if you have a smartphone and just a little bit of data, no matter where you are, whether it's in a remote village in India or in a small town in Russia or somewhere in an African city, you can download ideas about identity, sexual orientation, and gender, and try and apply these to yourself. Of course, the challenge comes is once you've downloaded these ideas off the internet, what happens when you try and integrate them into your local life in India or Russia or Uganda? And that's really what my book is about. And I look at this phenomenon in 12 different places all over the world. And the first place I went to, in fact, to do my research in 2012 was India. And I was quite astonished by what I saw. Of course, in India, as everywhere, there were very high levels of violence against people who were gender non-conforming, or in the Indian case, hijras. But what I noticed in India that I found so astonishing was the way there was a new rainbow energy, a way that because of the campaign to decriminalize homosexuality and get Section 377 taken off the books, to be in favor of gay rights, certainly among the educated middle class, seemed to be a marker of modernity, a way of saying, we are part of the global village. This is the new India. This is India rising. And you could see this in the way so many companies were embracing LGBT rights. You could see this in the way that there were pride marches in so many Indian cities. You could see this in the way that the Indian entertainment industry had finally found the gay character. It was very inspiring, in fact. And as I've come back to India over the subsequent 8 years, I've noted how this struggle has moved into the arena of transgender rights. And in fact, I end my book with a story that I find quite extraordinary about a group of third gender kotis, as they call themselves, in a fishing village in Tamil Nadu, who are determined to be true to who they are, while also remaining within their village and with their families, and not having to leave their homes and go to a town or a city and join an alternative community of hijras. And for me, this becomes symbolic of the way the world is changing. It's not always easy for these kotis. They have really tough lives. But the fact that they have made this decision and are trying to shift their identities and their cultures in a new way, I find not only inspiring, but a real marker of how the world is changing and is going to continue to change in the years to come.